I need to keep a sheet of steps to remind me what to do so I don't forget to record. But we really appreciate you guys being here. It was a great conference, and we have about 170 signed up, and so we have 76 in. So I'm sure there'll be people coming in for the next 10 to 15 minutes. But I know that for all of you, this is a busy time of the year getting school started. And I appreciate you taking the time to jump on here and help each other out. Let's see if we can share our screen for just a second. As you can see here, I'm kind of starting a new slide template with the white and the gray there. How do you guys like that? That's a little, I like the old one pretty well too. I was getting tired of looking at it. So anyway, hey, thank you guys for being here on this roundtable. It's August 3rd, 2023. And like I was saying just a minute ago, I know that you have a lot going on this time of year, and we truly appreciate it. I know that you're taking the time out to get on here and help each other and be a sounding board for your fellow CTE professionals. So thank you guys so much. It's all about working together. And I know I say this every month, or I feel like I do, but I think the CTE community, above all other educational groups, are so great about working together and sharing. So thank you all so much. It's your willingness to help each other out, which really makes, I think Texas has the best CTE programs in the country. This is season 4 of the CTAT Roundtable. We started back way during the COVID, if anybody remembers what that was. And I don't think a lot of good came out of that, but one of the great things that is having these sessions that we do where we can share. And of course, we found that being able to touch base once a month really helps out more than just getting the COVID update. So we're excited about season 4. Love the participation. It always amazes me. Uh, First and foremost, thank you all so much for attending the summer conference that was at the Anatole this past July. The presentations were just incredible. And I feel like they keep getting better and better every year. And if you didn't get a chance to get there in the summer, then of course we'll be back in San Antonio for the winter. But they were just incredible. And I think some of the topics that people were sharing and some of the curriculum ideas and some of the programming ideas were fantastic. And so I encourage you, if you didn't make the summer, to make the winter, but they were just really, really top quality. And one of the things that I really enjoyed was we had the teacher groups there with the business teachers and the tech apps and the law were kind of the primary groups. And they kind of were cordoned off in their own section, and they got to really have an opportunity for some teacher-centered topics. And I think that's as we move forward in CTAT, we're really going to focus on partnering with those career and technical student organizations and teacher groups to provide more targeted teacher content at the summer conference. So thank you all for being there, and thank you for the terrific presentations. We only have one kind of minor emergency, Mr. Stewart, uh, uh, but leaders adapt. And no matter where you fall on the premises, there's always a way to get around. So, uh, you just got to do what it takes. And so, thank you guys for being adaptive, especially if you broke your foot out on the water park. Also, as always, we would really like to thank ICEV for their awesomeness and providing the social, the presentation, the event that we do during the middle of the conference where everyone can get together. This year, I think, was one of the top socials that we've ever had. It was incredible. ICEV really went all out in presenting it. Everybody had a chance to share, had some good finger foods, work together, and really touch base as professionals. It was There's plenty of seating, plenty of places to stand around. I think we're finally getting to the right mix of having good areas for folks that want to hang around and where my feet don't hurt as bad, where if I want to sit down, I can. But anyway, it was just a great social, great event. We had the Mirror Cowboy. If you don't remember that. He was awesome. He went around taking pictures with folks. Also, we have some really great singers at the social this year. They popped off on some karaoke, really some surprising, I won't mention any names, but some pretty good Journey stuff going on there. You don't hear a lot of Journey, or not on the channels I listen to anyway. But anyway, it was just terrific. We did have a little issue. Some of the Houston directors, that area down there, they got in and they got a little bit rowdy. And of course, a little pushing and shoving came along. And, uh, you know, some people get a little out of hand at the social, and that always happens. I captured this picture. Then, the people just got extra rowdy, and you have to really go in there and calm them down. And a couple of people really got out of line, as you can see. I probably shouldn't even took these pictures there, but they were pretty good. But overall, it was a fantastic time. And I think everyone benefited from it. Thank you, ICB. Thank you, EduThings. Thank you to all the vendors that were there, but especially the ICB for putting it on the social. Thank you guys so much. Of course, the CTAT Roundtable, just like the conference, is all about everyone working together. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson always says, knowledge is on the way when you come to these roundtables because you guys share so great. Talk to you a little bit about, if you're new, our CTAT programming. We do next gen administrators. Of course, we have these monthly roundtables, the professional conferences at summer and midwinter. Also, we're venturing out into trainings. We'll be doing 2 new teacher trainings and also at least 2 trainings with TASBO like we did this year. We also do the district program evaluations, and those are filling up pretty quick. So if you think you may want a district program evaluation, send me an email to mark@ctat.org. The next gen administrators, of course, is geared towards kind of mid-level administrators, specialists, and coordinators, or directors that have had less than 5 years experience. We get on there and we spend about 20 to 30 minutes doing a professional topic. We do the same 4 topics, talking about program study, IBCs, all the have to knows. And then the second half of the next gen administrators is really member driven. So we'll go to the topics that you want the most. And that can be anywhere from SPED topics to inclusion to legislative issues, whatever you need, that's what we'll do in that. But if you want a chance to join the next gen administrators, you can go to the CTAT.org website, or you can just scan that. That thing has a name, not a barcode, but something else. Tom, what's the name of that, Tom? QR code. Thank you. Anyway, you can scan that QR code, and of course, you can join the next gen administrators. And if you can't find it on the CTAT.org website, just shoot me an email. And there it is. If you want to take a picture of it with your phone, there's the QR code. Thanks to Angie for making those QR codes. Also, in addition to thanking you for the presentations and the great summer conference of 2023, don't forget that February 5th through the 7th this winter in San Antonio at the Hyatt Grand. I think we've been at the Hyatt Regency, so we're going to the Grand Hyatt this summer. It has a little more space, a few bigger rooms. So that's going to be at San Antonio, February 5th to the 7th. Put it on your calendars now for the Winter Conference 2024. Also, one of the things that we talked about with the area presidents, and that'll be coming out in the next month or so is the CTAT Resource Clearinghouse. And this will just be a website where if teachers or administrators or counselors, anyone wants to drop a fantastic resource or a lesson in, then CTAT will be hosting that resource site. And what we're hearing from the board of directors and the area presidents is that they, over the history, there's been some great websites that have a lot of lessons and resources for teachers or other CTE professionals. However, those websites go dark or they disappear or the person quits the job and takes it with them. So this is a place where we can host this and hopefully provide some stability to some resources that folks are putting together in the districts. Also, we heard from the legislative update from Marty DeLeon. We sure appreciate what Marty and MJ do down there. And really, Marty uh, told us a lot, but not even though it was a very active CTAT and CTE legislative, nothing really happened. We didn't move forward and we didn't move backwards. And so in this particular year, I can assure you that was a win. As far as any kind of breaking news and roundtables, we'll just go to this. I think I stole this from Chelsea and Lisa's newsletter. Is that the TCE Gateway courses are officially canceled, and so Gateway courses uh, will no longer be for high school credit, and they no longer have service ID numbers. So if you're using the Gateway service IDs, you're going to get a fatal error when you submit that in PIMS from data. And of course, since it's no longer a service ID, it will no longer be funded. I think you do have some options out there, some ways to, some workarounds, but probably need to email me or call me, and if you want to talk through some ideas, or you might call Project Lead the Way and see what they're recommending. Also, beginning in the 23-24 school year, we'll start collecting military enlistment data. And as you can see, it tells you very clearly the districts must obtain the completed DD Form 4 enlistment, reenlistment document from the student who enlists. So the military will not provide that to you, but if you can get the form, then you're going to have the ability to upload those forms into the district to, or in a secure upload in March of 2024. You're going to have the ability to upload that and get credit for those students that have been enlisting. It's been 2 or 3 years since anyone's gotten credit because that data has not been it's just not been good data. Been very iffy. Also, we know we've been talking about for months about the new college and career and college exploration course, and of course the TEKS are out on that. And all this information can be found in the CTAT chat that we sent out at the first of the week, and you can access the TEKS on the SBOE website. Sorry, I was reading the chat there. Yeah. I just got a chat about uh, Tracy. Give me a call. I think I might have an idea for you. And I think anyway, if you have questions about the Gateway courses, feel free to call or shoot me an email. Yeah, very good. And then anyway, the college and career and college exploration TEKS will be effective through Texas Administrative Code. And of course, you can click on that, and that link is in the CTAT chat. But there are the new service ID numbers. If you want to take a screenshot of that, you can. But you can find that if you will go to the CO22 table on the tweets, on the data standards. But make sure that you go over here to where it says year and you pull down to the 2023-2024 school year and then click open, and then that will update the newest service ID numbers. And of course, there are the new service ID numbers for the college and career exploration. Now, as you can see, and like we've talked about 100 times, these do not, the course unit gives you the credits. They're not earning a high school credit for these courses, and they are not receiving funding. They're just like the other courses, the career investigations. You didn't get high school credit or funding for those either. If it has where it says CTE course, if it has the M in there, or if it's blank, it is not eligible for CTE funding. In order to be eligible for CTE funding, it has to have an H. And then the units, of course, will be over there for the course that's receiving the high school credit. So anyway, I know that people have been waiting anxiously. I think Ms. Pierce posted these also in the CTAT Connect. So thank you guys for working with that too. Also, when I sent out the CTAT chat, I told you make sure that you check all of your 127 and 130 service ID numbers against the newest CO22 table. And then Sammy pointed out to me and sent me an email. Make sure that you're checking these 035 numbers too, because these are also career tech courses. And we know that they're career tech courses because in the CTE course column, they have an H, which means that they're a CTE course and eligible for CTE funding. So as you're checking your service ID codes, you can't just check the 127 and 130s. You have to check the 035s as well. Thank you, Sammy, sending that. And then also TEA is doing the program refresh, and the public comment runs through August 14th, and you can click on that link in the CTAT chat to pick up and comment on the new programs of study. Go in there and look at those folks and give them your insight. One of the things that I thought was the most questionable was offering the academic courses as part of a program of study. I think having academic courses recommended if you're in a particular program of study is a great thing, but making them a part of a program of study, I think is very questionable. We need to keep that CTE, we need to keep that sealed tight. Also, we had the new OSHA course did not get approved. Instead of what was approved is that the TEKS were embedded into the intro courses like Construction Tech 2, Electrical Technology 1, Metal Fab 1, Welding 1. The OSHA TEKS were embedded into those courses. So you can pick up the new TEKS and those will be into the new courses, and they're on the SBOE website as well. Also, CTAT will be doing 2 more CTAT plus TASBO finances. In addition to doing the same components that we did last year, we're also adding a heavy PEIMS component. So if you want to bring your PEIMS director, I highly recommend that. And we're adding school-based businesses. So not only will we cover a lot of the information that was covered last year, we're also going to be added in our presentations with TASBO, school-based businesses, and a lot of PEIMS data. And of course, we'll have one in Denton in October 25th and 26th. It'll be a day and a half this year. And then we'll go to Austin, March 25th through the 26th. Also, kind of round out, I don't know, I went to the Ranger game last night and watched them whip up on the White Sox 11-1, and that keeps our favorite Texas Rangers in first place. Congratulations. If y'all haven't watched that Garcia play, he is a man among men. Rangers are looking great this year. Go Rangers. And I think somebody said that the Colt 45s won too in Houston, if you're in the Houston area. So this is all about the roundtable. Oh, also the Astros may have signed somebody too. I missed that news, but they might be doing all right. Anyway, thanks to the roundtable. Thanks for everyone working together. So I'm going to exit back out and stop share and get back into gallery mode. And here we go. Can you guys see that we're in gallery mode? Awesome. So what questions, comments? I see some of you Astros people. Oh, no, that's the Harlandale deal, isn't it, Tom? There you go.
I have a
what
big
questions,
question.
Comments?
Has anyone talked with their community colleges about the House Bill 8 and gotten any feedback yet on what's going on with the no-cost dual credit for students?
Renee, would you catch us up on that? Because this is pretty new news, I assume. What was House Bill 8?
It's just TEA hasn't shared anything out on it, but a couple months ago, the House Bill 8 is redoing the finances for the community colleges, and they're going outcome based. But part of that outcome based funding, part of that though also included no cost tuition for students who are economically disadvantaged, or no cost dual credit. And so we met with ours today, and they're getting some guidance. Most of the colleges thought it was going to go effective last year, but it passed unanimously, so it was effective immediately. And so when we met today, instead of it being the colleges providing no cost dual credit, it was we won't charge dual credit tuition or fees, and now you are all going to be responsible for textbooks if we do this. And so I just didn't know if anyone else had heard from their community colleges, if they decided to opt in or opt out, or if they had announced when they plan to start it.
Renee, this is Edenfield.
Hey.
I met with mine yesterday and we discussed it today. Basically what they communicated to me was that they were told that if you opt in, it's not just like what you said, it's not just the college tuition, it is books, it is supplies, it is everything. So the college is like, whoa, wait a minute. If we can only charge $50 or get $50 back in return from the state for each hour, they're like, then who's covering the cost of the supplies and the textbooks and all of those things? So our college has opted to opt out for the fall, but they are going to reevaluate for the spring semester because they were told that August 28th, they should be receiving more communication from the state with more details of what they can and cannot claim. Because our deal was that, you know, like a welding kit or cosmetology kit, for example, you know, a cosmetology kit's $1,100. Well, we pay for that. Well, if they have to cover the cost of everything, they're like, okay, we're not going to make any money. Like, we're going to go in the hole type thing. So that's why they opted to pass in the fall. We're going to reevaluate. And then they are talking about that if it's just the college tuition that, you know, they have to cover and we would still cover the textbooks, supplies, whatever, then they would be willing to opt in.
So but the burden comes back on the districts because they're getting reimbursed, and our college will actually make money based on what they charge for dual credit. And it's back on us to find budget money for all the everything else.
From my understanding, yes. And that's why ours opted out, because they were like, we will lose money based on certain programs, because like for welding, just the cost of metal and rods and all of that kind of stuff that, so anyway, I was like, okay. And so I'm the one that had to give the information to the superintendent. And so he's already requested then a meeting for us to meet again, like that week, that we come back after Labor Day, because hopefully then the college will have enough time to be able to look at what the state has passed down and be able to kind of come up with a plan of action for the spring.
Okay. Because I know they said they're getting emergency guidelines by then, but then they will then still be meeting to come up with whatever the final things will be. So whatever they do for the fall is going to be temporary anyway. Anybody else?
I was at a meeting the other day where our local junior college, they stated that they were having to move away from the contact hour type payment, and basically they would dual credit student would have to have 15 hours in order for them to get funding and stuff. So there's a shift in that for our local junior college anyway. That's what they talked about just the other day. So I'm not sure how that's going to play part.
CT, they use that completer term too. They have to have a completer to get right. Yeah.
Yeah. And that to them, what we were told was that is like a milestone point where they kind of get some extra money or whatever, but they'll be reimbursed $55 a credit hour for any dual credit student. So
Renee, one of our two partners is jumping on it already and is doing it this fall.
Who's that?
It's Lone Star.
Lone Star figures. Yep. I was guessing.
Yeah, they're doing it. So they reached out to us. It's very preliminary. They're working one-on-one with, we have dual credit liaisons on each of our campuses. And so they will work with the dual credit liaisons to get lists of free and reduced lunch students. And they have listed 100% tuition, supplies, and textbooks effective fall 2023 up to 15 credit hours, semester credit hours, 15 credits per semester.
And so they are not expecting the school district to pick that cost up?
They haven't pushed it on us yet, no.
Okay.
And I've got a meeting with our dual credit director as well, just to figure out what they mean by all of this. So,
and that's up to 15 hours per semester?
That's what they're telling us, up to 15 credit hours per semester.
Because that's when they're they would kick in. That's when they would get their money.
Yeah.
On the back end, is if the student has 15 hours or is a completer. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They're not going to instead of getting the hours based on who's enrolled on census date, they get it based on those milestones instead.
And they're very much hedging as well, just so you know, like we're building the plane and flying it too kind of thing.
Yes.
Where we don't have a process in place for this yet, but we're gonna try it, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Ours just started right out. Yep, we'll get this reimbursed and we're gonna do it. But if we're gonna do, if we're gonna opt in on this, then districts are gonna have to fund books and supplies and everything else for them.
Renee and Larkin, I would like to, I think this is, and PT too, I know you have a good relationship down there, but this is something I think would be big enough to where we could have a statewide Zoom on it and just have the community college people there. But it sounds like that there's not a consensus way that the colleges are handling it yet. And if you talk to Navarro, they're going to do it one way. Lone Star's going to do it another way. Blend's going to do it one way. So do y'all have a recommendation?
Well, okay. So this is Edenfield again. I'm in the car coming home or coming back from another meeting, so I apologize. My understanding from Galveston College is that if a junior college opts in, then they cannot charge a school district for books or supplies. They're either all in or nothing. And that's what they explained to me, was that that's why they're opting out, is because the guidance that has been given to them is that if you opt in, then the junior college has to pick up all of the cost of supplies, textbook, tuition, computer fees, whatever, for your children that are free and reduced.
Okay. So obviously, I mean, and Com did say that they had a meeting, but there is nothing in writing yet on what what they called their emergency guidelines from the co-board were. So that's a total opposite of what ours said and what Lone Star is saying they're doing.
Yeah, I would just say, Mark, I think that meeting is totally valuable, but I think we need a little bit to know. Otherwise, it's going to be a meeting of questions.
Gotcha.
So, they're still developing and give us some chance to meet with them and find out a little bit more as to how they're going to manage it.
Well, that would be my question, is who would be the expert that you would get? Because if you have 1,000 community colleges, you're going to have 1,000 different experts.
Yeah, I would go to the coordinating board.
And I've been kind of scrolling through the text of it.
Is it Kelsey Kling at TEA? Is she still there doing?
She's not TEA, but she went on to be a lobbyist for advanced academics, I think. But she's still pretty knowledgeable in that kind of stuff. So she might be a good resource.
But it is, I mean, and I know, like I said, a lot was like that. Our college was trying to get us to tell them, well, let's wait until the spring, because they're worried about all of a sudden, enrollment jumping up because so many more kids get enrolled in classes.
And ours is, I think, offering it more like, okay, your kids who are already enrolled, we're offering this to them. I don't think that they're publicizing it as a marketing campaign or anything
Right.
like that. It's working with us directly of the kids who have already signed up or already enrolled. Okay, we'll give this opportunity to them.
And Sherry posted a link to the PDF for the House Bill 8 text in the chat. Thanks, Sherry, for you're still. Oh, there you are. Yeah, thank you for posting that. That to me, that is kind of exciting though, because I really value dual credit for our CTE students, and especially if they can get some type of level 1 certificate, which typically would be the 15 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's when those students become valuable. It's when they've always become valuable to the community college, but now they have an extra incentive because of back end funding.
Yeah, the part I hadn't heard was a lot of the colleges like HCC who waive all dual credit tuition and fees. They had started doing that at the beginning and it wasn't a lot, but now that with all the early college high schools and dual credit growing so much, it had become hard for them to manage because there were so many of them. And they went, according to our college, they went to, and asked for help. And this was the way they were going to get help, was by getting some of that money reimbursed. So Kathy Hunt, Dr. Jennifer Kent of Victoria was very active in getting it passed. So he may be that person may be, Jennifer Kent, sorry, may be a good resource, Mark.
Yeah, I'm reading that too. Thanks, Kathy, for putting that in there. Yeah, fantastic. And maybe if we get far enough along, like Larkin was saying, maybe we could even have someone come. We could do a Zoom and have someone come to winter conference.
Yeah.
So
yeah. This is Kathy, and I would also add that Dr. Kent is very unique. She most of her background is as a high school teacher in public education, so she brings, kind of that sense into her role at the college. So she's real helpful at figuring out details. So
awesome. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
That to me, that sounds like good information in the long run.
Well, I think if nothing else, it's going to push the colleges even more to start going open resource where they can, because then they don't have to provide the books if that's the case.
Terrific. Thanks, Renee. That's a good info. Anyone else have something on the House Bill 8 or any topic?
– Hey, Mark, this is Dave.
Yes, sir.
Hey, where do you find these new teaks for the new OSHA teaks?
They should be on the SBOE website, and maybe I can look it up and post it while we're in here.
That'd be awesome. I can't find them. They're not. They say they're going to change them once they, go through and change the courses.
Yeah.
But they want you to embed them starting this year.
Right.
Yeah.
It said effective immediately.
Right.
Really.
What was that in that list of classes? Is that on the SBOE website too?
If you get their July update, it's on the July update.
July update.
The TEA update. That's what I'm looking at, but
okay.
But I can't. I've looked all over TEAs. I can't find them.
David, I'm gonna post them into the now there's a 1 credit course that's on here, but that course did not get approved. It's the teaks that are going to be embedded into it. So the bottom half of what I'm posting in here is not applicable anymore.
Where are you
Okay.
putting it? There
I
it is.
put it in the chat just now. You should be able to open the PDF. And just keep in mind that the embedded TEKS are at the top, and then the standalone course is at the bottom, and the standalone course was not approved, just the embedded TEKS.
So it's just
go ahead.
It's just the ones on top here.
Right. The 127.17.
Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of for the course, the standalone course, but they would have had to have made it a part of 15 different programs of study for it to be effective.
Yes, they would, which wouldn't have been bad.
No, it'd been fine. It would have been to me, I was thinking it would have been a good 8th grade. You know, if you were an 8th grader wanting to take a lab course in high school, that'd be a good course for 8th grade. You know? Sure, freshman. Anybody have any comments on the gateway courses? What happened is that the innovative course application just ran out. And this was the last year for it. And what I understand is that it wasn't renewed because it did not fall into a program of study. Kind of
Mark, I don't mind.
Yeah,
I don't
go
mind
ahead.
sharing out. So I was, it sounds like Miss Edenfield was in there too. And I recognize a few other names that were in that PLTW meeting a week ago. But one of the things that they had mentioned, one of the possible solutions is to code your gateway, at least the 8th grade course, as Principles of Applied Engineering, which is a level 1 STEM engineering course already. I think that's going to do a couple of good things. Instead of drawing 1.1 funding like the GTT did, now you're going to be able to draw 1.28. It's also going to put them 1 year closer to completer status by the time they get to the high school. So that's what we're doing. And they said 82% of the TEKS in that course are already covered in the design and modeling and the automation or robotics courses that are required for the 8th grade GTT. So we're just going to pick up the slack and figure out what those other 18% of the TEKS are and throw them on top of those 2 courses. There's plenty of room to throw them in that course.
Yeah, I just really caution, and I'm not saying don't do that at all. I'm just really be cautious to make sure that the TEKS can be covered, because the gateway, as I understood, was 4 different separate. It was really 4 different classes that had, I'm going to say 10 different modules in it. And not all of those were engineering. So, you know, make sure, like you said, you're going to do, Todd, make sure that you get all those TEKS from Principles of Applied Engineering. And it may be that you don't need to offer all 4 of those gateway modules anymore. So, anyway,
so the only ones that they require are the design and modeling and the automation of robotics. We threw extras in there just as fillers because our teachers were certified in more than those. But yeah, if you can find that other 18% of TEKS, I don't see there being an issue with that.
Well, my question would be, why not just teach Principles of Applied Engineering at the 8th grade?
Primarily because we've invested so much in the PLTW, and it's what our teachers are trained in. I don't want to reinvent the wheel when that's been working, but it may essentially be a very similar course. It sounds like if 82% of the TEKS is the same, it's just there's some freedom on how you address those TEKS.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm with you. And also, I thought that that student to industry connections, which was another innovative course, I thought that would be a good possibility. That'd be 1.1. So anyway, it's there's going to be a bunch of figuring out for a year.
I'm sorry, Mark, what other class did you say right now would be good at 1.1?
Yeah, it's an innovative course called Student to Industry Connections. And it is N1270154. N1270154. And that's for a high school credit, but it's innovative. So you'll have to get your board to approve it, like now.
Yeah, and be careful because a lot of the special education that was written by special ed, like the general employability skills.
Exactly.
So it may be being used. So you may need to be careful, make sure it's not being used double.
That's a great point.
Thank you.
And to make sure that SPED's not planning to use it when they're juniors and seniors. So really coordinate with them.
Hey, Mark, I tried to include the Google Slides from that Project Lead the Way meeting from July 27th in the chat. I hope it comes through, but in that slide deck, there's about 3 or 4 pages where they turned around and Project Lead the Way basically said, okay, medical detectives fits within this program of study, design and modeling fits in this program of study. And so they went through and kind of broke it apart. And then based on what my teachers were certified in, or trained in, I should say, then that's kind of how I started going through the programs of study to see really what fits based on what I already have now, for the high school, like what's going to fit the best to feed into those programs of study. But I took that document those 4 pages, and I went through and just looked at, okay, what are my teachers actually trained in that they can teach? Because yes, you're correct. There's like 8 or 10 modules, but if your teachers are only trained in 4, then you want to really just look at those programs of study that fit within those modules that they're trained in. But so that's why I was trying to find that slide deck. I don't know if it came through or not, because like I said, I'm on my phone.
If you can email that to me, I sure don't mind. Oh no, it did come through, Jennifer. I'm sorry. Yeah. If you'll look in there, Jennifer Edenfield posted that Google, a link to a Google Drive. So it's in there if you want to grab that. That's the first innovative course in a long time that's just vanished.
Mm-hmm.
With no warning either.
Well, yeah, very. I mean, who would have dreamed? But Project Lead the Way, they're kind of the only innovative course that didn't have a district. Most of the time it has to be a district that initiates the innovative course. And so Project Lead the Way was the only ones that didn't have that anyway. So it was a little bit different.
Are we ready for another subject?
Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone feeling the crunch on budgets?
Oh.
Do we need to turn off the video now?
We sure can if you need
to. I'm kidding. I could talk on air. I don't care. So.
Well, what have you got?
No, we got our budgets from finance, and they're way cut because last year I think our finance people figured us on 95% attendance, and we only had 92%, and lost millions. So this year they're only giving us 92% until we see what it looks like, and that's a huge loss.
Susie, I'll just mention the other thing that we've seen around our area is a lot of districts planned ESSER money with positions and things that they meant to fund indefinitely and expected the state to pick it up with the new legislation, and they didn't. And so they have all of these staff and positions that they're continuing, but not the same amount of money to do it. So I think ours did not do that, and so we're doing okay, but that's what I've noticed a lot around at least our area.
Well, so when I look at mine, like on my general supply budgets that I hand out to the clusters, they gave me about 80% of my funds for now. But like where I had software, which is curriculum for IBCs. They gave me 73% of what I had asked for. So it's going to be tight till we find out if we're getting more money from the state.
Hey Susie, I'm curious because I haven't kept up with it. What kind of teacher raise are y'all doing? I just wonder how that factors into things. Because I mean, we haven't done a huge one, but some have done like 6-7%, and that's, I mean, that jacks up.
Yeah, last year we did 7%. This year we did 3%. So, and I tried to explain that to my teachers today. I was like, you have to remember, like 85% of our budget is payroll. So they're still attempting to give you a raise, but that's going to affect supplies, you know?
Have you also, sorry, anybody looked at the summary of finance? I think they just put out the projections like a week or so ago for this coming year. So I looked at the last one in July for 22-23, and our FTEs had gone up. And then they're projecting, you know, our new summary of finance to show our updated version too. Still will probably be a little behind of what it actually is, but I don't know if that's anything to help.
Cross your fingers for good attendance.
Well, and I explained that to my teachers today. I said, you know, too many teachers, not really so much CTE as I'm going to say more core, have gotten used to putting assignments in Schoology or whatever online. And I'm like, you have to have hands-on stuff so the kids come to school. Because if they don't come to school, we're not getting money, you know? So it's up to CTE to do that hands-on and get the kids to actually come to school.
Our attendance dropped. It was like right under 91%. So we took a big hit in a really small district. And so I went in and I was just like, try to attendance taken period. Don't give CTE teachers their conference, because at least maybe the kids will show up for that class and either come and stay through there or come in time for the class to try to help.
When I also explained to our teachers, when we get 92% of our budget based on attendance, we still pay 100% of our salaries. So it's not like we only pay 92%. We still pay 100%. So it's going to come out somewhere else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I have a question, and I'm kind of new to this, so I apologize if I can find this information somewhere else. Has anyone had experience with a student that's here on a visa doing a certification test like CNA?
I think it's going to vary by certification.
Yeah,
it's going to vary by certification. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mark.
We've had that exact situation, and they are not allowed.
Okay.
There are certain ones. I mean, it's similar to Part 107. They have to be able to speak and understand English fluently, and like there's just different requirements for certain certifications. And unfortunately, we have to explain to them that that's not the district setting those. That is the industry standard. And but yeah, that particular one, if they don't have a social security number,
right.
You cannot. I believe you cannot get your CNA.
You can't. We've had undocumented kids before, and so that we had experience with, but not with. We have a teacher coming in on a visa, and they're bringing their child with them, and so how that would all play out. But if no social, that's the same as just being on a visa. Okay, thank you.
Sherry posted in there that pharmacy tech was the same way, and I believe that cosmetology is the same way.
Okay.
Dental's the same too.
Dental.
Probably anything medical for sure.
Anything medical for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And background, probably law enforcement as well.
You know, I know that we don't just distinguish between the two, but really we call everything an IBC. But there's really two different things. There's a license, and then there are certifications. And the license are the ones that are really going to be stringent in those areas.
Thank y'all.
Good topics. Anything else? Does anyone have a great story to share about their summer activities? Besides going to the Ranger games? You Houston fans know I only get to say that for about another week because Houston's on the climb.
Yeah, you just enjoy it for now, Mark. It's okay.
I know. Believe me, I ain't. There's one thing for sure about the Rangers. They're going to find a way to let you down before October gets here.
Well, we got Verlander back, so.
Yeah. Gosh, he's 80 years old, isn't
he? Yeah. Married to Kate Upton.
That'll teach you. Yeah. Well, it's really good seeing all you guys. And I think we do need to stay on top of the community college aspect, and also the project Lead the Way. As more schools start going through it on the gateway courses, I think we'll get everybody. We're going to run across a great idea somewhere. So anyway, we have some good topics to stay on top of. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, and also don't hesitate to use that Connect CTAT on the forum, because every day I read something great on that. So keep them coming.
Mark, there was another bill that was passed that no one had actually heard of. They said, because all the colleges were focused on House Bill 8, they did not pay attention to the other. And there was a bill that was passed that has something to do with allowing students who don't qualify for college level, courses, the ones that have either ELA or math requirements, they're going to be able to do like a co-requisite course and still take their classes. So for the workforce classes that do have entry, that may be something, entry level requirements, that may be something to watch if you have students in any of those programs.
Awesome. And that's been one of the ways, like if you're a welding student, if they enroll you in a certificate program, then you've always been able to work around the TSI requirements.
But if it's a associate degree program without the certificate, like process technology, they can't do that. And
that's exactly, if they were enrolled as a freshman at a community college, that's exactly what they would do for them, right, Renee?
Yes, they started doing that a few years ago. So there used to be within the dual credit laws that high school students, colleges couldn't offer them or receive funding for high school students in any type of remedial class. And but this law just changed that. But again, they don't know anything beyond the law passed because they were even watching it for the most part, because everybody's eyes were on that funding bill.
Thank you so much. That's a great point. All right, Robin, how did things go with Tarleton?
Pretty well. Got registered for classes.
Robin is sending her favorite child to Princeton on the Bosque starting this fall. So we're going to have another expert in the world. Robin, do you have anything to add before we zip off?
No, I'm just so curious what I missed.
As pretty good stuff. You're going to have to watch the video. Okay, well, fantastic. I think I'm going to hit the stop recording now, so we'll go into the Slack session. So we really appreciate you guys so much for being here, and make sure if anyone missed it you think could benefit, that we post all these recordings onto YouTube. So thanks a lot, and I'm going to stop recording